Hello, everyone. Welcome to Module 6 in the last module of our Multimedia Caregiver Education program. Today, we will be discussing handwriting development in children. So, we will be talking about handwriting development, skills involved, importance of handwriting, as well as activity suggestions to promote success. All right, so let's talk about handwriting. Handwriting can be defined as a written form of communication for many young school-age children. As children transition and go into formal schooling like preschool or kindergarten, they spend a majority of their time participating in fine motor activities. And about 85% of those activities include handwriting and drawing. Handwriting is really essential for children attending school. However, it is also a really complicated and complex process as it requires being able to combine our visual, motor, sensory, cognition, and perceptual skills. Think about how we have to think about the words we want to write and retrieve memory of it, how to organize and problem solve, the language and reading ability, in addition to the motor process of writing words out clearly and accurately. Writing quality and speed is important for allowing children to express and communicate their thoughts and ideas. It's vital to academic achievement and may play a role in their self-esteem. Although children have increased their use of computers or other technology, handwriting continues to be a main and important occupation within the classroom, as we think about all the paper and pencil activities that begin in kindergarten and continue to increase significantly into elementary school. Learning to write the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, our names, drawing and coloring pictures, and then to more complex tasks in the future, such as mathematics or writing book reports. Educational policies in the US have increased expectations for kindergarten readiness and emphasize the importance of fine motor performance and handwriting, therefore causing a shift in classrooms to focus more on academic criteria with fewer chances for play-based learning. Handwriting is one of the most common reasons children receive occupational therapy services, and it is reported about 27% of elementary children have handwriting problems. So there are many parts that lead to quality handwriting. The major areas of handwriting include legibility. Legibility, which consists of being able to properly form letters, such as making sure to close a circle when writing the letter O so it doesn't become a letter C. Aligning it on the paper and an appropriate sizing and spacing between words for easy to read. The speed at which children write is also important as we think about taking notes or completing assignments and class activities, as well as ergonomics, or how children are positioned, is equally important. Having a chair at the appropriate height so children are able to keep their feet placed on the floor and the hips, knees, and ankles bent at 90 degrees provides a stable base of support, as well as having a table that is slightly above elbow height when seated, which allows for their children's forearm to rest on the table and the wrist to be extended and move with ease while writing. So as we mentioned, handwriting is a complex skill and requires a combination of many components. It requires use of our sensory system to carry out motor movements, the cognition or ability to keep attention and remember words, as well as the development of self-esteem and motivation to learn and practice writing. So how can we support children in their handwriting development and success? We must first understand the skills involved and how development of these skills required for handwriting begins at birth. So let's first describe some sensory and motor components. For our senses, it is important for children to be able to process touch and proprioception, or also known as body awareness, as well as vestibular, which is the sense that keeps us balanced. As we think about being able to hold a pencil or a crayon with our hands, making sure we are aligning our body with where we are writing, and being able to keep our body upright as we turn and look in different directions. Another sense involved with writing is kinesthesia, which is being able to understand the weight or direction of a movement. This is a factor into writing as we need awareness of how light or hard we are pressing down on the pen or pencil. If a child is pressing too hard, it may not only break the pencil tip, but it also makes their hands become tired more quickly, while pressing too light may not create legible words. The combination of these senses all contribute to the quality of a child's handwriting. Our sense of vision also plays a big role as we think about how our eyes guide our hands, and it is how children first often learn to write their letters. Visual motor integration is a skill especially important for our students' learning. This is because it combines visual skills, visual perception, and fine motor skills, like we discussed in previous modules. This skill allows children to analyze and interpret or process what they are seeing so they can interact with their environment appropriately. Some examples within the world include being able to tell a difference between numbers or letters with similarities such as B as in boy or D as in dog, or the words saw, SAW, or was, WAS. Integration of our senses allows us to have proper positioning, recognize the placement of letters and words on the line, color in the lines, trace, and copy. Now, we also discussed fine motor skills such as bilateral coordination, which is being able to cross the middle of the body, manipulating objects in our hand, finger and grasp strength, as well as wrist stability and control. Let's take a look at the picture on the right. First, we observe bilateral coordination, which is the ability to use both the left and right side of our bodies to carry out tasks. We observe this skill when children are using one hand to stabilize their paper and the other to write with, or as they keep the paper down while using the other hand to erase. Being able to cross the middle of their body is also important as we learn to read and write from the left side of the paper to the right side without needing to turn our entire body or head each time. Other fine motor skills involves manipulating a writing tool within the hand, such as when we grab a pen and slide our hand down closer to the bottom to get a better grip on it, or when we have to flip a pencil upside down to use the eraser. The development of the small muscles within the hand is also essential to having a proper grasp on writing utensils, and problems in these areas often impacts a child's handwriting performance. Now, another really important component to talk about for handwriting is developing a stable base of support and strong core strength. Development begins at an early age through tummy time, as babies learn to roll, crawl, and reach. As babies and children lay on their tummy to play, they are actively engaging with their muscles as it challenges their head, neck, and upper body muscles to stay upright. Now, as babies, this strengthens their ability to keep their head up and control their posture, which then leads to them being able to independently sit and be able to reach for items and use their hands with ease to explore. If a child has a weak core strength, they may slouch over, or their fields of vision or what they see may change, and this poor posture can lead to poor handwriting. Now, having strength in the body parts closest to the center of our body, such as our core, and having strong shoulders and elbows, allows for more support and so that we can position our pens and pencils for controlled movements at our wrists, thumb, and fingers. This is the concept of proximal stability leading to distal mobility. And this skill continues to be important as children sit within the classroom and require the ability to keep their core strong anytime they adjust in their seat to grab an item on the table, look at their classmates or teachers, or as they quickly turn their heads to see what is on the board and back down at the paper to copy and write. So, how does handwriting develop? It begins early on during play. Different writing experiences or pre-writing experience like finger painting, playing with small toys, and scribbling, children progress through a series of small steps that lead up to developing the fine motor skills necessary to create letters and words. As children begin to understand the functions of crayons and paper, they can start using writing utensils to create and leave marks to make something. Through increased observation, they understand they can control their movements with writing utensils, and they begin to learn that writing consists of lines and patterns and can experiment. A child may often learn to write the letters in the name first, because that is what they are most familiar with and have a clear meaning and association with themselves. With repeated exposure and practice, children develop understanding that writing is a form of communication and learning that different letters and shapes carry different meanings. So here is a timeline of what you may expect to see at certain ages in terms of the developmental progression for writing. At around 10 to 13 months, you may see a child begin to make scribbles, either random or controlled, and then progresses to 2 years old, where a child begins to imitate marks you show them, where they may attempt or may not have clear distinction. At around 3 years old, children will be able to copy horizontal lines, going from left to right, or vertical, going top to bottom, and circles. At around 4 to 5 years old, you may expect to see more advanced levels of copying forms and begin practicing writing letters, and then as they transition to formal schooling, 5 to 6 years, they can copy shapes and most upper and lowercase letters. Now, through repeated practice and exposure, handwriting fluency, which is the ability to write quickly and easily to communicate, develops around third and fourth grade and is expected to reach adult speed by ninth grade as they enter into high school. So, why is handwriting so important? In what ways will practicing writing support children? As we mentioned earlier, handwriting is a major occupation for children within the classroom and at home. In a study with elementary school classrooms, it was discovered that 46% of a child's day involved participating in paper and pencil activities. Now, foundational handwriting skills can be developed early in preschool through learning the correct formation of letters, numbers, and shapes, and this has been found to be positively linked to academic achievements as they grow older. Handwriting is a huge component for children in their role as a student and their participation in their education. As a student, handwriting is required for completing classroom activities, homeworks, and assessments. Development of handwriting is related to basic spelling and reading skills, and being able to be proficient or adequate at writing supports a child's ability to read and their academic development. It is a skill that is foundational for academic success for subjects like math, reading, and language. And oftentimes, written work is how a student is evaluated across various subjects. Now, handwriting speed and legibility is important because it allows children to take notes and read them later. It helps them to keep up with what their teachers are saying or writing on the board, their learning of grammar, and how they complete written assignments. Now, in particular, if a child is slow at writing, many tests and papers in school have limits. And if a child is unable to write at an appropriate speed, they may be at a disadvantage because what they are able to complete may not reflect their actual academic ability. So now acknowledging the role that handwriting plays in a child's daily life helps to call attention to the impact handwriting challenges may have on a child's performance in school and their self-esteem. By supporting children in their handwriting success, it promotes their ability to carry out this life skill into adolescence and as adults. So there are multiple skills we discussed earlier that are involved with handwriting, and there are many ways to promote handwriting success for children by addressing these foundational skills through play and creative ways. When we think about all the sensory and motor components for handwriting, we can address these strengths needed for control of the pencil and handwriting legibility, or developing a child's core strength to keep their body upright through play. So the first activity we have is pom-pom play. It's a pre-handwriting activity that practices the foundational skills to improve strength and control during handwriting. Materials you'll need will be pom-pom, clothespins, and paint. And you can have your child participate in a variety of activities, such as working on their grass string by picking up pom-poms and transferring to cups, using the pin and pom-poms to paint polka dots, or painting following a line. Manipulating the small objects will challenge your child's fine motor skills needed for handwriting. The next activity we have is Play-Doh letters. This is a sensory activity to promote letter formation and pencil grasp. By cutting plastic straws into 1-inch sections, flatten a large piece of Play-Doh onto a flat surface. Using a toothpick or pencil edge, draw an imprint of a letter on the surface. Once completed, you can allow your child to place the straws to trace the letter or have them remove it and roll the Play-Doh up and flatten for a new letter. This activity will provide a sensory experience as well as practice the dynamic movements, which promotes finger dexterity and strength for handwriting, as well as many other skills. Next up, we have an art wall. This is creating a vertical art wall addresses many pre-handwriting skills or even an opportunity to practice handwriting. So by recycling a large cardboard box, you can tape up or place against the wall to create your child's own art wall. This will be a fun way to engage their core strength and get creative with writing on the art wall. You can practice with your child to practice lines, shapes, any numbers or letters, and provides a unique opportunity to work on the many skills required for writing. Next up, we have a writing tray. Now, this is a multi-sensory activity that practices the movements of writing. A writing tray can be used in many, many ways, such as using dry and wet materials that includes rice, sand, or shaving cream, which allows for a motivating learning experience. You can have your child use their finger or a writing utensil to practice letters, numbers, or shapes, depending on their skill level. You can also allow your child to practice from memory, trace, or copy from visual cards that you create yourself. This will be an experience that supports their visual memory, attention, and motor planning in addition to fine motor skills. Next up, we have sensory bag letters. Sensory bags provide a learning opportunity through play. Some materials you'll need include a gallon-sized Ziploc bag, hair gel, Q-tips, and optional are markers and papers. The sensory bag you can tape along a table surface and use a Q-tip to stimulate a writing utensil and the small object challenges your child to work on their grasp and control while writing. If the gel is clear enough, you can even place visual cards for your child to copy letters underneath. Next up, we have wet chalk, which is a creating writing activity that will provide a lot of sensory feedback. By finding a safe space for your child to play outside, provide them with sidewalk chalk and a bowl of water to dip into. Creating a wet chalk texture allows your child to feel a drag or friction against the sidewalk surface, which provides a lot of sensory feedback such as touch and proprioception to allow them to know where their positioning of their hands are. You can even break the chalk into smaller pieces so that they can work on their grasp, and your child can experiment with colors and practice drawing lines, copying letters or shapes. And as your child continues to grow older, here are some more additional activities they can do to improve their foundational skills for handwriting. This includes painting, completing mazes, playing with Play-Doh, engaging in animal walks and twister for that core strength and upper body strength, or even doing board games and completing puzzles for their finger dexterity and manipulation. Thank you so much for following along. I hope you found this was helpful.